Up next, we have Ninve James of Real Estate Board of New York to talk about building standards.
Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Ninve James. I am the Senior Vice President at the Real Estate Board of New York, and I oversee all of residential brokerage and products. And today I'm talking about the importance of standardizing and centralizing building data. So before I jump in there, let's see, is this working? I'm having some issues with oh, there we go. This is my fourth RESO conference, and I've attended them with my colleague, Mia Yu, who was supposed to be presenting with me today, but she's had a family emergency. But I wanted to thank Sam and the entire RESO organization for putting on great conferences, and I'm super excited for all the ones who are here today at their first conference. And everything that we are learning from each other. So let's see. Let me tell you a little bit about the Real Estate Board of New York. So our listing system is called the RLS, the Residential Listing Service. We have 590 members. We have 590 member firms that have over 12,000 agents. We have a cross-functional board that consists of large institutional landlord owners, brokers, and agents. We service the 5 boroughs of New York City. And last year we had over 70,000 listings that came in through the RLS that at any given time are valued at $45 billion. So our migration. I joined REBNY in 2020, and our goal was to completely deprecate RETS and migrate to RESO. I'm happy to say that we were the first to exclusively only offer RESO search and trestle, but when it came to deprecating RETS update, we stopped because we have a building resource in RETS, and that had to come along with us. So although we do service single-family homes in our market, we are predominantly vertical. And because of that, our members demand that we provide building information with their listings. And a lot of times it's vital because there is conflicts of data when it comes between buildings and units. So here's a couple of examples. A building may allow pets, where a unit owner, a condo owner, might not allow pets for their rental. Another example is laundry. So a building could have laundry in the building, it could be on a floor, it could be in the lobby, it could be in the basement. A unit may or may not have laundry. And these are all very real and important examples, especially when a consumer is making the largest investment in their life, to understand what is available on a unit and on a building level and make that clear. So I'm gonna dive deeper and kind of explain the building data. So on the right, you will see a building stacking plan, or is it your left, sorry. And you will see that a building has common elements that are shared between the tenants, such as hallway space, staff, amenities. And then the units have their own features, and this is all housed under one roof. And then on the right, you will see a picture that depicts New York City. And although we have a small geographical footprint, we have a population of upwards of 8 million people. And per the New York Housing Report back in 2017, there was nearly 100,000 buildings that had over 3 million apartments. And the amount of units a building can have can vary drastically. It could be a single family home, it could have 1,000 units, but on average in Manhattan, each building has about 95 units. So to put this in perspective, if you think about it, if there is 5 to 10 units for sale or rent in a building, each time an agent enters a listing, they're entering information on the unit and also the building. And when they enter it on the building, they are entering their version of the building data. So our goal is to make sure that we provide accurate information, reduce redundancy, and also to provide consumers with data that they demand when searching for property. Additionally, I wanted to kind of spell out a little bit further here. When it comes to buildings, usually the data is static. It doesn't really change as often as the unit data. So, the building name, the city it's in, the year it's built, stories, those don't change. But when you look at like the examples I gave of the pet policy or laundry, even going to garage, a unit could have been purchased with a parking spot, but not all tenants in the building get a garage to park in. Subletting policy, again, an owner might or might not allow subletting. Terrace or outdoor space, there could be just one unit in a building that provides a terrace or outdoor space and not the building. And so it's really important that the data is clearly defined in a building resource that we have had for decades at the Real Estate Board of New York. So I'll share a couple of examples. So technology providers have implemented our building resource that we've had in RETS to serve our members and the New York City brokerages. The first example I'll give is CitySnap, which is REBNY's consumer portal. You're able to click into a listing, you're able to see building features, details, and amenities. You can see on Corcoran.com, they're showcasing 11 Hoyt Street. Douglas Elliman, you could click into a building and see all listings that are for sale, and anything that's previously sold. Compass is providing active listings, past sales, past rentals, building amenities. Without a building resource, we wouldn't be able to create building pages unless a listing had transacted within that building. So that is why a building resource is important, because again, there are often times that there's no listings transacted within a property, and if that doesn't happen, then you're not able to update anything on that building, and that building can't live on its own. So again, why is this important? And I'm going to kind of talk about the building resource and centralizing the data. So first, as I mentioned, it creates efficiencies. So this will reduce redundancies for brokerages, ease of use for agents. It will provide comprehensive and more accurate information for technology providers, and the consumer experience will be better for it. It also addresses disambiguation. So, when it comes to certain data fields, which one relates to the specific unit and which one actually relates to the building. And that has to be clearly defined for all of you and all the technology providers and all the consumers who are searching for that property so that data could be mapped accurately. And then by creating a standalone centralized building database, this will create accuracy because we could have property managers, large institutional landlord owners, agents and brokers, people who are the most knowledgeable about the property, enter that data into that centralized database that could eventually feed the building resource. So this has been quite the process. When we stopped migrating over to the RESO update, we realized that we had to create a building resource in RESO in order for us to migrate. We could have done this, but we wanted to make sure it was standardized so that everyone in this room could use it. So what we did was we looked at our current list of building fields that we use. There was about 150 building fields in our building resource. We thought, why don't we look at this and clean it up and add to it so that all markets across the country could use it. So it doesn't only benefit us locally, but it could benefit everyone here and all consumers nationally. So we put together a working group of landlords and brokers who brought together data fields that are not only important to them to be shared and for them to get information, but also for consumers. Then we reached out to RESO. We talked to Josh. We talked to Jason and Rob, and we stated our case of what we were trying to achieve. They reached out. They were very helpful. They've been tremendous in this entire process. I first want to give a big applause to everyone at RESO that has been involved here. But then they reached out to some technology providers and got some metadata. REBNY reached out to other MLSs that thought that they had listings in vertical situations, such as Chris at MRED. We reached out to Matt at Stellar. We reached out to Liz in Miami. We stated our case, and everybody was interested in joining in on this initiative. We got their metadata. We sent it to Jason at RESO, who then reconciled all the data fields. Again, I want to thank all the MLSs who've been involved in this process. So Jason reconciled the data. We found that there was roughly 150 data fields that 2 or more of us were currently using. And so what Jason is doing now is that he's RESO-fying the attributes that don't have a name, and hopefully we're nearing, I would say, the finish line, hopefully, here. But what we're going to do is post that for everybody to basically provide feedback on it. So how many of you guys work in markets that provide vertical living? I'm just curious. All right, so there's a handful of you here. You know, we need you guys to collaborate and also contribute here, because we're trying to create a standard that everyone can use across the country. So again, we're gonna post this for feedback. Our end goal is to provide the next generation of consumer experience and technological advancements to create a standard resource for all MLSs to use to provide value to their members, and also to improve the data set that is provided in the consumer experience. Again, Mia wasn't able to be here today, but please reach out to either of us. We want you to collaborate, and we want you guys to join in on this conversation in getting the building resource standardized at RESO. And that is my presentation. Thank you, guys.